Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another One Nil Show, and we're here for a very special video in a makeshift little studio. We've got a very tasty menu on display with Froutys 5, obviously 5 things I caught my eye from the weekend. Then we're going to go look at 5 players that Newcastle United should sign, and realistic ones, not these Mbappes or Haalands or Ronaldos. 5 realistic signings Newcastle United should make in the next window or the window after that. And then, obviously, preview of the next week's Premier League games. And as you know, I'm a United fan, so I'm not happy. Let's get straight into the intro. Yes, and if you are new, make sure to like and subscribe, do that business, leave a comment down below if you think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm talking some absolute nonsense. Now, first up in Froutys 5, it's a common occurrence here. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. What's going on? He's copying all the flack. The players deserve to cop a lot of flack. Maguire was dreadful. Okay, a 4-2 loss against Leicester City in a time where our next 9 games are just terrible. It's like Squid Games, mate. It's never going to stop. It's always difficult. Okay, Maguire was terrible. Bruno has gone away with murder. He was terrible against Leicester, but no one's really talking about him. Ronaldo, yes, maybe Ronaldo playing to his strengths, but he was poor. Okay, Greenwood was positive from his goal, but didn't do much after that. Wan-Bissaka looked a little bit lost at times. Luke Shaw struggled to get into the game. Pogba was nowhere. Okay, Matic just cannot. He needs someone next to him, like a Donny van de Beek, which is insane because he's actually on our team. To go 2-2, you come back, make it 2-0, and then 15 seconds later concede from kickoff, and then concede another one 3 minutes later. I don't know what more we can say. I personally don't think Ole's going to get sacked anytime soon, which sounds crazy because we've got Liverpool next week, Atalanta during the week, Man City and Tottenham in the space of 3 weeks as well. And then you've got Arsenal, you've got Chelsea in there as well. More Champions League games. We've got the Atalanta second leg, or the second game of the Atalanta Champions League as well. Villarreal got to come in there. But the problem is he's not going to get sacked. Glazers are the most unproactive owners there are. Okay, we've waited, like Mourinho, we waited until it got super desperate and super, okay, we can't win the league to finally get rid of him. The same with Moyes. Okay, we're like, okay, he's actually very bad. We can't keep him here anymore. And then bang, Ole's just signed a 3-year contract extension. I think Ole's here for the rest of the year unless in 6 weeks we've had a 3-0 loss to Liverpool, a 4-0 loss to City, a 3-0 loss to Tottenham. Unless it's honestly terrible, that's the only way he's going. I personally would take Zidane. I think Conte's name gets thrown around. I'll take anyone, honestly. I want to see Ole do well, but I'd take anyone. Conte's name gets thrown around, but I don't know if this is a Conte team. And I think Conte needs a little bit more time to make his team and establish his sort of system with the team. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that at United. I think Zidane has got a Real Madrid team to an extent. He obviously had Ronaldo and Varane. I think Pogba can thrive under him. Hopefully he can play Donny van de Beek and give him some time. Ole after the game said maybe we need some more legs. Possibly just go out. I think Liverpool screams for a McFred midfield, unfortunately. But knowing Ole, his job's on the line. He's got to come out, get a 1-0 win against Liverpool, pull away with a 1-1 draw against Liverpool at Old Trafford. When really, with the team we've got, we should be going out looking for a 2-0 win, a 2-1 win. Takes me to the next one, and it's Liverpool right now are the team to beat. Based on current form, Liverpool are the team to beat. I know a couple of weeks ago I said Chelsea's the team to beat. Chelsea, we'll touch on them later on as well. Liverpool right now, unbelievable. Yes, they versed Watford, but damn, when you've got the best player in the world to this day, you're the best team in the world. Okay, I think Liverpool's a team to beat, and for United fans such as myself, it's not the thing you really want to be hearing, because especially with no Varane like we're predicting against Liverpool, United's defence could get torn apart and torn to shreds, not even just apart, just torn to shreds. So I think Liverpool, unbelievable form, 5-0 win against Watford, obviously last week's result against Man City with the international break as well, sorry, not last week, the week before. Salah's hitting form, Firmino's having a bit of confidence. He's started to do his celebrations now as well. The defence is there. I think Liverpool the team to beat, and if they can continue this, maybe they could peak too early, but if they can continue this and they don't look like slowing down, the rest of the league could be in trouble. Next up, we're going to go to Leeds. Okay, so from one side of the spectrum to the other, Leeds are deep into the second season blues. If there's newly promoted teams do really well in the first season, their confidence is there, they're playing good football. The second season comes, and it's maybe a bit of a reality check. Leeds are that. A 1-0 loss to Southampton. At the time of recording this, Arsenal Palace hasn't played, so I've got to forget about those two teams. But Leeds, on the other hand, deep into second season blues. They just really can't find their feet. They're struggling to really play the football that they know. They've had a couple of injuries here and there. Slowly, their team is starting to come back to full fruition, but Bamford's struggling to get on the score sheet. Rafinha's having a pretty decent season. But besides that, defensively, Leeds are just not performing to the best of their abilities. Don't think they'll get relegated, but a lot of people had them top 6, and I think they might struggle with that this season. I think they might struggle with top 10 even at this point, because they find themselves very far behind already this early on in the season. Next we're going to go to Chelsea, and Chelsea versus Brentford was a cracking game. I watched the first half and then I fell asleep, but Chelsea versus Brentford was a good game. Brentford could be a bit like a Leeds. Okay, Brentford, they're quality football. They're doing well so far this season. They're an entertaining team, and Brentford at home is going to be a very hard win. It's going to be a very hard place to go and try to get 3 points, no matter what the team. Chelsea probably find themselves a bit lucky to walk away with 1 point, with 3 points. Big shouts go to Edouard Mendy, but as you can see on the screen, on the little tab, I've got Chelsea are lacking creativity, and I think that's probably the biggest concern for Chelsea fans. I think this is what makes a champion side. It's scraping these 1-0 wins, as I said a couple of weeks ago. You've got champion sides scrape these 1-0 wins. You're not going to win pretty every single week, but I think the biggest concern for them is the lack of creativity, and something that they've had for most of the season, but they've been able to get away with it. I don't know if I like Werner and Lukaku up front. I don't know if I like it. I'm not too sure. Chelsea fans might disagree, and if you do, comment down below, but something about it just doesn't work with me. I feel like Lukaku needs, and he wants that top spot. He needs that. Okay, no, I'm the man, come around. And I know Werner isn't right next to him. He's sort of the man that's going to run around and pick up the ball and deliver. But there's a lot of times I'm looking at Lukaku's reactions after Werner's done something, and he's going, I can't have him near me. Mason Mount hasn't hit the ground running at all, obviously. I think Loftus-Cheek is a positive for Chelsea fans. Finally good to see him getting some consistent football. But besides from that, Chelsea, are you lacking creativity? I don't think it's concerning times. But if this can continue, Brentford, maybe that 1-0 win to Brentford was a little bit lucky. They've got a very, very, very good run of fixtures coming up very soon. So I think they should be like that. The defence was definitely Chalobah, Christensen and Milan Sarr. Definitely a little bit hurt. Okay, no Thiago Silva, no Rudiger, so definitely plays a factor. But the next run of games is very, very, very easy for a team like Chelsea. So it's going to be interesting times. Next up, we've got Watford and Wolves. They're a huge comeback, massive comeback. 2-0 down against Villa to come back, bang, 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 3-2, unbelievable scenes. And I think the celebrations after it shows how much. I think Wolves are a very tight-knit team. They could be one of the tightest teams in the competition, because you look at Conor Cody, who's a great leader, a great person to really be leading a team like Wolves, who aren't top 8, but they're not bottom. A perfect mid-table team, but a team that can also produce a lot more than maybe what they are doing so far. I don't mind the new gaffer. Yes, they find themselves 2-0 down to Villa, which isn't a good sign, but to have the ability to come back, get those goals again, some lucky goals, some lucky deflections with that Ruben Neves free kick, but sometimes you do need luck on your side, and that's sometimes what you need. And I think it's a benefit for Wolves, a good win. And I think staying away from the top clubs, I think the Wolves win was definitely a massive highlight from the season. Now we're going to get into 5 players, realistic players that Newcastle United should sign. And looking at my little notes here, there's 5 players who I'm going to go, you know what, they're not just from the Premier League. I think these are ones that Newcastle could do in the space of the next 2 transfer windows. Some boring, some quite obvious. And number 1, the first player that Newcastle United should sign in the next transfer window, Jesse Lingard. It's the obvious one, it's the one that gets thrown around quite often, but I think it's just a match made in heaven. Okay, Lingard is a player that we know is going to give you 110% when you want to, when you can create an environment for him. Okay, he works hard. I think Newcastle got to get him for cheap, and I think this whole Newcastle takeover is going to see them willing to pay a little bit extra, because now people know, hey, you guys have money, okay? But you can give us a little bit more. I think Jesse Lingard fits into that mould unbelievably. He's going to be there for another 3-4 years. He can give you 3-4 years of top football, and I think it's a great player. It's not a huge name signing, but it's a name signing. It's a big enough name to get people's attentions, and in Newcastle's sense, stake their claim of where they want to be in, and help them guide them into this transitional period which they're going to be facing in the next couple months and years and so on. Next up, number 2, is a player who's already been heavily linked, and supposedly Burnley's already said he can go. I've gone for James Tarkowski, and it's not the sexiest signing. Okay, he's a handsome looking man, but it's not the sexiest signing. Okay, but it's one that I think Newcastle fans would cry out for. I think Fabian Schär is quite solid, but I think Tarkowski, he plays for a very defensive team in Burnley, which we know. I think Tarkowski would be a great signing for Newcastle. Bringing in some of that English blood, he's got to bring in a bit of confidence, a bit of leadership as well. I think he fits the Newcastle sort of mould. He's a defender, if you know what I mean. He's a proper defender. Okay, I think that's going to be a perfect sign for Newcastle. I think one that they could probably get done for less than 20 mil. Okay, and he's a good centre back, another good centre back to take him through to this transitional period. Number 3, we're going to go outside the Premier League now, and watching him against Greece, the Swedish striker who's taken the last 2 seasons by storm for Real Sociedad. I'm going to go for the young man Isaac, or Isak, however you want to say it. Now, watch him against Greece, and he didn't play that well, but he got a goal. And that's what you want from a top tier striker. He's still young, so he's got to have time. This is a player who I think, if they can lure him enough to sort of move away from, Sociedad in the Europa League, if Newcastle can maybe give him a bit more to lure him away from Europa League and say, hey, you're going to play in the Premier League for this Newcastle team that's going to be on the rise. Come and do it, And I think Isaac could do it. If they tell him, if they can propose it to him in a way where you're going to be the star man, okay, you're our striker for the next 10 years if you can put in good performances, because he is young. I think Isaac is going to be a very, very good signing. Might be one that's maybe on the unrealistic side, but I think it could very well possibly be done. And I would like to see Newcastle sort of venture out from the Premier League. I've seen a couple of these videos of people really sticking to the Premier League. If they can venture out, like what Man City did with Vincent Kompany, got him from Anderlecht. Okay, they didn't go and sign a West Ham centre back. Okay, they went and signed Kompany from Anderlecht, built him up through the system, and look what it eventually came to be. I think Isaac could be that same sort of player in a different position, obviously, but a top-class striker who's going to need continue and consistent football. I think Isaac could be brilliant for the Geordies. Next up, signing number 4 that I would make for Newcastle United. He's someone who's already sort of tried and played around with the Premier League, but he's still young, and I think it's crazy how young he actually still is. Okay, Renato Sanches, okay, if you're a FIFA player, you know how good Renato Sanches can be. Okay, he's still young, he's done very well for Lille. He's had a good season there last season, so far he's hit the ground running quite well. I think maybe now could be his time to come to the Premier League in the next year or 2. Play for Newcastle, he's an incredible footballer. Okay, play of the tournament at the Euro, not last year, it was the Euros before when Portugal won. Renato Sanches could be a very good signing. He's got to be a bit risky because he's hot and cold. Okay, he's had times, obviously when he was coming off this season at Benfica, everyone's like, okay, he's ready, he's on, this guy's got to be the next star. He's still quite young, he's going to hit the prime of his career in the next few years. Renato Sanches, if they can get for a decent price, which I think they probably could, he could be a very, very good signing for this Newcastle new outlook. Now, 5th, but last but not least, okay, I'm looking at a man who's currently at Crystal Palace, but is on Chelsea's books, Conor Gallagher. And he is probably one of my favourite players to watch this season. Someone who I wasn't really that aware of, I'll be honest, wasn't that aware of him before this season started. But seeing what he can do at Palace, mate, if he can go to a Newcastle team, play week in, week out, with a strong team around him, with a Saint-Maximin up front, with a Isaac in front of him, with a Lingard, okay, and Renato Sanches next to him, and a Tarkovsky behind, Conor Gallagher could be one of the next breakout stars and the breakout player for Newcastle in this whole takeover period. I think Conor Gallagher can be huge signing. Someone who would be looking to play consistent football. I think he knows that maybe it's going to be a bit difficult to break into this Chelsea team. He could go down the Loftus-Cheek route and go out on loan here and there, but really stay loyal to Chelsea and eventually break into the team. But someone of Gallagher's talents, mate, if I'm you, I'm going and having a field day, because he is a cracking player, a very solid player. Now, that's going to wrap us up for the Newcastle takeover, okay? 5 signings. Let me know which 5 signings you'd make. I want to keep it realistic and semi-unrealistic, but I think at the end of the day, these are signings that ultimately prove to be worthy signings for Newcastle. Now we're going to head into the Premier League preview. Obviously, a huge round of fixtures. Arsenal, Aston Villa. Obviously, like I said before, at the time of recording, Arsenal hasn't played just yet against Palace, which will be a good game actually. But we mentioned Villa previously in the show, with Villa losing 3-2 after being 2-0 up to Wolves. This is an interesting one. At Emirates, Arsenal's got a bit of confidence about them, okay? Tomiyasu, like the Japanese kid, I'm big on him. I'm invested the 1-0 chips into Tomiyasu. Huge fan of him. I think Arsenal could walk away with a 2-1 win at the Emirates. Okay, Villa needed to sort of bounce back from last week's disappointing result. Their confidence would be a little bit shot after that, but I think ultimately Arsenal could walk away with the win. Then we're going to head on to another big game, another very big game here, West Ham versus Tottenham. Okay, huge game again. Mikel Antonio, can he do it again? They had a good 1-0 win against Everton. A little bit of a graft. Was it the prettiest performance? No, but it was a bit of a graft, and you need to graft those 1-0 wins out. Away from home, I think West Ham fans will be happy with that. Tottenham, on the other hand, returned to St James Park, 3-2 win. The second goal was their own goal in the dying minutes of the game. So 3-2 win. Harry Kane finally getting on the score sheet, registering his first goal for the season. Heung-min Son continuing in fine form. Eric Dyer is a huge liability, might I just add, but young Romero, the Argentinian centre-back, big fan of him. I think he could be a solid player. I'm going to go for a West Ham, I want to say 3-2 win. I can see goals in this game. I think Tottenham are they will very easily concede goals, but I think West Ham can score, and I think West Ham also can concede a little bit as well, especially to a Harry Kane and a Heung-min Son. So at the London Stadium, I'm going to go for a 3-2 West Ham win. Maybe a little bit ambitious, but I feel like they could do it. Now the huge game, the huge game, Man United versus Liverpool. And we're going to spend a bit of time on this. The phone's in the pocket. Like again, if you've got to this point, please make sure to like and subscribe. I've had crazy last 2 weeks. Okay, so it's been wild. Man United versus Liverpool. I'm going to sound like a weirdo. United will win this game. Manchester United will beat Liverpool. And clip it, do whatever you want with it. Send it to your mum, send it to your dad, send it to your group chat. Say, Gusto, he's an absolute donut. I know. But it just, at Old Trafford, this is the sort of game where Ole's got to pull something out from his backside. Deep down, do I think we're going to win? No. Deep down, do I think Liverpool could pump us 4-0? Yeah, 100%. But this is a game where if we did win, I'd be over the moon. But I'd go, this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Okay, and I think that's what this season's going to be. The next 9 games is going to be maybe a draw against Liverpool, win against Tottenham, we'll beat City, then we'll lose 3 games in a row, and then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to be sacked, but then we'll win again, and then we'll lose again, and then we'll get pumped again, and then we'll win again, and then we're going up on the right trajectory. Ronaldo's killing it, everybody's see, and then bang, we're losing. So I think that's what this season's going to be like. Unfortunate, because it means that we've had 3-4 years of the same season. But focusing on this Liverpool game, Liverpool are scary. If Liverpool score a goal inside 15-20 minutes, thanks for coming. Lights out. Might as well put you in the CM Punk GTS. Bang, you're done. Go to sleep. Okay? Because if Liverpool can score early on, United is bum. They're done. Okay? Even though United do tend to go down 1-0 pretty much in every game and seem to fight back, I think Liverpool, once they get rolling, they're a rock and roll team. Once they get rolling, they're not going to stop. Okay, Obviously, Salah's the biggest threat. Salah versus Luke Shaw is going to be a very interesting battle. They might even swap that around a little bit more frequently to sort of maybe expose Salah against Wan-Bissaka, who I think in a 1v1 battle, Wan-Bissaka can do quite well because he's a good defender. But in terms of going back and forth, trying to gather that momentum and maybe the counter-attack, I think Salah can skin him out of his boots, if I'm totally honest with you. But what is crucial for United to win this game? First of all, McFred is going to start. McTominay and Fred will start in midfield. I'm willing to put everything on it. I think Rashford coming back is a huge, huge boost. And I think he's a type of winger that will benefit from playing with Ronaldo, because he's a winger that will run. He will run a lot. And coming back, which he's been criticised for a little bit for in recent years, but I think we saw it near the end of in the midway through last season. And I think coming into this season as well, scoring in his first game back, which was very good for him. I think Rashford will benefit. So I'm going to go, I think United will pull away a 2-1 win, but deep down I do think we could lose 4-0. So that's going to wrap us up for another 1 Nil show, ladies and gentlemen. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe, do that business, leave a comment down below. 5 players that you would sign if you're from Newcastle, United, if you're in charge, if you've got the money, okay, and United versus Liverpool. Liverpool fans, how confident on a scale of 1 to 10 are you? And United fans, Ole out or Ole in? Deuces.